Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Emmanuel Tebandeke. I am from the Department of Chemistry, Makerere University, and I coordinate activities of the Global Alliance on Health and Pollution. And this is a body that is trying to fight or raise issues of awareness when it comes to issues of health and pollution all over the world. Today, we are having an inception meeting to begin awareness raising in the issues of lead pollution in Uganda. This follows a project that we implemented last year looking at issues of lead pollution in Uganda. We did an initial assessment of lead pollution in the country, and we looked at the different sectors utilizing lead and also different sources of lead exposure in the country. And according to the report, there were key areas that need interventions. One of the key areas that were identified were issues of people recycling used lead acid batteries. Because once a battery is spoiled, after 2 or 3 years, in most of the cars, a battery is dumped, yeah? And once the battery is dumped or left in the garage, this is collected and the lead in these batteries is recycled. So during recycling, the lead is melted and it ends up into the environment. Some of it is poured as poorly processed waste onto the ground. So there are issues of particulate lead going into the atmosphere, but there are also issues of lead being thrown onto the soils and it ends up in wetlands. We know that in wetlands, people use the clay to make herbal preparations like a mumbwa, and once you take clay from wetlands around Kampala, chances are that this clay is going to be contaminated. So mothers who are going to use this clay, even though the herbal preparation wouldn't have been a problem, but the good ingredients used contain this dangerous chemical. And the problem with lead is that it can be passed on from a mother to the child. So the issue of recycling lead batteries, where the lead is melted into ingots that are sold to other stakeholders, was a big issue which was identified in the report. Another issue identified was, of course, the lead in paint. The paint industry, a number of paint samples taken still contain high levels of lead. Lead is used as a pigment in paint. It is used as a catalyst that initiates polymerization. It is used as an inhibitor or antifoiling agent. So many paint samples tested in Uganda contain elevated levels of lead. And once this is used in a house, once the paint film gets old, when the paint is peeling, the chances are the children can actually pick and ingest some of this dust or some of these old paint films. And lead is actually very dangerous to children, because unlike adults, the children can easily ingest the lead. And since their bodies are developing at a higher rate, the lead can easily find its way into a number of systems of the body. And one particular aspect where the lead affects children is in their development, their behavioral changes, their IQ. Most children may not be able to reach their full potential due to issues of lead pollution. Lead can mimic certain ingredients, key minerals like iron, like calcium, like magnesium. Some of these in the biochemical systems where these minerals should be, lead can enter and it interferes with the biochemical processes that are happening in the body. So it affects our children. Another issue identified is solid waste disposal. Of course, as we have poor segregation and sorting of waste, some of the electronic waste, some of the metals are thrown into these waste disposal sites. And once there is some rain, the leachate coming out of these disposal sites ends up onto soils and it's washed into wetlands. It finds its way into water courses. So we end up being exposed to this lead. Of course, there are other issues of mining, where you have mining activities. Usually where we have minerals tend to occur with heavy metals. Where you expect gold, lead may also be present. In areas of Kasese where there was copper mining, lead was also part of the heavy metals that were present in the tailings. So these find their way into the neighboring soils. And as you grow crops onto these soils, the crops tend to pick this out of the soils. Metallic cookware. People who make aluminum saucepans, some of them tend to add lead to increase on the malleability of the metal, such that they can form the saucepans that they are making. But once you use lead in these saucepans, then the lead during cooking can find out its way into food. So you cook food, but some of the lead is moving from the saucepan into the food that you are producing. Areas where we see a lot of pollution are areas that surrounding people who recycle batteries, people who are neighboring solid waste disposal sites. For example, children around Chite's sites. When the blood of these children were tested, many of them had elevated levels of lead. So people who are living near disposal sites or near sites where there is recycling of batteries, these can easily be exposed to lead. Now, as a follow-up of what we did in the first project, we are looking at key interventions that we can do to try to mitigate or to reduce lead exposure in the country. And one key item that we identified was the issue of awareness raising, that everyone should be concerned about issues of lead. The regulatory agencies, the community, even you who is driving a car, at the end of the day, once your battery is dead, where do you put this? Why do you leave it with the mechanic who is going to sell it to someone who is going to recycle the lead? Why don't you at least sell it back or deposit it back to the authorized recyclers or manufacturers of batteries, such that the lead in the battery is not misused? So today we are starting a campaign on awareness raising where we're engaging different stakeholders. We have people from Ministry of Health, we have people from NEMA, Ministry of Water and Environment, we have UNBS, we have URA, we have Occupational Safety and Health, we have KCCA, we have academia. So we have all key stakeholders such that we can come together and then try to forge a way of how we can better manage lead in our environment, and also put up mitigation measures where we can eliminate lead usage or lead products where they shouldn't be. For example, there are some cosmetic products that contain lead. There are some toys that are imported and they contain lead. Some of these should not be entering the country due to the lead content. And then we have some standards that are meant to reduce on importation of these kind of items. So when we come together as different stakeholders, we discuss as a team and then come up with measures on how we can reduce lead exposure in the country.